Hi everyone, welcome again to another segment of Inclusive Reflection. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Please, if you have not subscribed, we urge you kindly hit that subscription button so that you don't miss out on whatever content we air. And I believe that we can together be able to inspire one life at a time. Today is a beautiful day. We're going to have a lady, an amazing woman of God with us. She is also a HR by profession who is going to tell us her story. She was once selling chapatis and mandazi, but how she came to rise to become the head of HR in a big company, that is the journey we want her to narrate to us. I'm your host, Terry Sami, and please help us to welcome on.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm blessed of the Lord and I believe you too as well. Yes.
Amen. This is Inclusive Reflections, and we are happy to have you on board. Thank you for agreeing to share your story with us. Here we say that your story is an inspirational. Ukiuza chapati seriously, rising to the head of HR. How did that happen? Because some of us are still in the journey of realizing our careers and realizing the purpose that God has for us, because the Bible says that everyone was created for a certain purpose, for a particular purpose, by the way, that is very defined. But some of us are still struggling, trying to try here, try there. Some of us, life has happened and we no longer know whether we'll ever become anything that we wish to become or God wanted us to become. So I want to believe that your story is going to encourage someone.
Thank you very much. My name is Winnie Miseda. I'm a firstborn in a family of three. We are three girls,
Oh,
Sheila and Beryl. Born and raised in Muhoroni, that is in Nyanza, Kisumu area, but our home is in Bondo. I call myself Nyasa kwa Bondo.
okay.
Yeah, that is where we are.
Nini?
Msichana wa.
Okay.
So anytime you go home,
Mm-hmm.
they'll always refer to us Nyakonyango, Nyakarabuor, Nyamajiwa, where we come from. Then in our clan, Nyakobuya, yes. That's how they refer to us.
Mm-hmm.
Went to school in Muhoroni Success. Secondary, I went to Nyamira Girls High School. I finished my Form 4. Form 2 third term and Form 3 third term, I didn't go to school. I left because
What happened?
lack of school fees. I had to give room for my sibling, my follower. We
Mm-hmm.
are so close.
Close.
So, and you know what happens in the system, in the education system, in Form 1, you must clear the school fees. It's unlike now, Form 2, you see, you're already in the system.
Mm.
The teachers can be able to give you time free. So I had to step back. I allow her clear Form 1. Going again to Form 3, that time again, there was no money. He said, this time, it's only mom who is working. My dad didn't have a job by then. He just returned. Then he went back home and was doing basic farming. So it was mom. And back then, civil servants were earning peanuts. Unlike today, you can say civil servants have something substantial in their pay slips. So I finished Form 4. My mom wanted me to be a teacher because around our family and their family, there's that pattern, either teaching or nursing. And we had an uncle who had the connections of medical school. But me, I said, hey, no, I've always wanted to be a journalist right from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
A journalist or catering. I loved cooking and I do love cooking.
All right.
I can play around with anything just to get the best
Recipes.
exactly. So I was like, hey, if I don't go to journalism, I love speaking to people and getting to learn people's stories.
Okay.
Then mom said, no, if you're not doing that, then we don't have that money.
Wow.
So I stayed home for 2 years. And during this time after fourth form,
Yeah.
being brought and I were brought up in a setup that, in a church setup, right from childhood. Church afternoon hours, we do the choir thing. I could also teach Sunday school. So there was no room for malice or misbehavior. And mom said she didn't want us to be idle because there was a notion in Moroni we could see people who are idle the way they could end up. But as the upbringing in Moroni, it was like a family set up within the quarters.
Yeah.
That discipline, that order, everybody, all the nurses, the neighbors, they could take charge. A child could not misbehave. I remember at times I was cheeky when I was growing up. We could run, and maybe when we see the tractors with the sugarcane, as kids we could follow it and try to pull it down. But when you get home, you wonder who told your parents.
Yeah.
You are spanked. I'm like, we alijuaje?
Information.
Ilifika aje, you know? So that's now how we were.
Okay.
And I remember at some point we didn't even have money for food. And me, we had a small kitchen garden just behind the kitchen. And me, I used to see my mom taking mbogas from there. So me, I didn't know which mboga you mix with what to make food. So me being the firstborn, I'm here with my two siblings. Mom had gone to Nairobi to follow up on her payments with the Afya Center and nini. I said, si mboga ziko kwa shamba. Me, I took all the vegetables, so long as they were greens, and prepared for my siblings. So when mom came in after 2 days, we told her what was, and she was like, no, you don't mix this with this. You only mix these to go together. Now she started taking us through how to do things. And that went on. A story in Form 3 second term.
Yeah.
I hated being punished. I'd rather you speak to me but don't beat me up. So in church one day, our names were, despite being a cop, I was a class prefect.
Yeah.
So the head girl decided to write our names. Mostly were drama members. We hated going to church. And if we could go to church, we were backbenchers.
Yeah.
So we could always, when people were singing, we could sing. This is Nyamira ACK Church. And apparently names were written that were making noise on that Sunday. So Monday we are summoned to the principal's office and she wanted to cane us. And I told her, no, me, I can't be caned. Said, if you cannot cane me, then we are sending you home. I said, fine. And mark you, that Saturday, my mom had just come to school. It was a visiting day. And she had cleared the school fees now for that particular term. Now here you are sent home. A majority that went home were prefects. I remember Dora, Guy, there's Irene Dollar. We were all cops.
Yeah.
So there's that site you're going home
With.
Yes.
You're not the only one.
You're not the only one. Then again, you're prefects.
Yes.
And I know my rights. You see, I'm one person who I don't like injustice.
Okay.
I don't like injustice. So I felt I was being punished for the wrong thing. We haven't been given time to explain or express ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I get home, it was late in the evening, around 7. I was like, I can't go to the house because I know my mom. I know she's a disciplinarian. I stayed until 9, when now the neighbors, everybody's asleep, so that they cannot see me, because they'll see me and start questioning. So I go knock the door at first, and I hide. I knock and I hide. At that time, my mom comes out and says, now, who is this bothering? Then she sees me. She's like, why are you here? Is there a problem? I told her, no. Let me get in. Then I said, then what's not happening? There's no school fees balance. Ama mmechoma shule. Nikamwambia hapana. Nimepewa suspension. Kwa nini? Nilikataa kuchapwa. She told me, you sleep, we'll talk tomorrow. Slept. Asubuhi me, I'm still sleeping. Hakuna. So me, I'm troubled.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I sleep, she might decide to hit me. If I don't sleep, it's another issue.
Yeah.
So I sleep, and in the morning, I forget to wake up early. By 7, I was still sleeping. The next thing was a whip. When ni mwanafunzi bado umelala unafanya nini? Na kwangu umekuja illegally. I'm like, no. Then I give her the sheet. So when you leave school, you're given that?
Yeah.
Yes, I give her that. And she asked me, suspension 2 weeks. What did you do? I declined to be beaten by the teacher. Them. When I'm from school, I used to go to class at midday. Actually, I went and registered by myself because he didn't take me. When I used to leave class, I could come back in the evening. I find he's gone to work. People. I began everything that I used to do is through people. And it's because God gave me a gift that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
A gift to bring people together and just making friends. Because me, I have friends. And yes, others are users, but others are genuine. But I'm a people person. So that is how I began my journalism story at Kenya. I could do stories, go out in the field. Attachment period came to a closure.
Yeah.
It was extended. Again, another extension. So it reached a point that I could not get a job. And I decided, hey, I cannot just sit. Let me volunteer.
Yeah.
I remember the then minister, an assistant minister, Koigi Wamwere, in information,
Yeah.
and Ezekiel Mutua. Ezekiel Mutua was the director of information. And they said, hey, why do we deny somebody a position yet we are not paying? Let them get skills. That's what they want. And during that period, that's how I learned to do several things. I could do documentaries, I could do scripting, and get money through it. We go to a function,
Yeah.
and after the function, I could present a proposal to someone. Thank God, those who mentored me, Ayub Mwangi and Odongo Wandago, they're my lecturers as well. But when we also at Kenya, they taught me how to do that. We could work together with them.
Yeah.
That's how I earned a living. I'm always proud to date that the charter in Mombasa County was a product of us three,
Wow.
both English and Swahili translation. We are the ones who did it. Through the then town clerk, Tabman Otieno. He gave us that platform and told us, instead of me giving you guys the handouts that journalists maybe are given 500, 1,000, Winnie, it will not help. Why can't you register a company? Then do it the right way, that we can always help. When jobs advertised, tenders, bring it in. And that's how we won that and did it. And I felt proud, and I still feel proud up to date. That's how I started learning. 4 years I volunteered. I got a job, and now as a freelancer with KBC, things didn't work out. You work, you're not being paid.
Yeah.
I went to Baraka FM, the same, you're not being paid. Then I said, hey, this is tough. KBC called me back again.
Yeah.
Now here, I began becoming sick, and I didn't know. I was diagnosed with thyroid. Sometimes you could fall down, you don't know what is happening. Kumbe pressure imepanda. So one time where I was staying in Mombasa, that is now after my dad had passed on.
Yeah.
My dad passed on in 2004. Yes. 2004, then I also stayed home for 2 years nursing my mom. My mom was also not feeling well. She was also sick, and I had to stay home to nurse her.
Yeah.
So when I returned, I did the volunteering attachment. I didn't get a job again. I stayed, and it was not easy. So I told myself, hey, what do I do? When I registered that company,
Yeah.
it used to help me. I could get 10,000, even 20. We used to do documentaries, we get the money,
Yeah.
we share, and life goes on. So here I am, all alone in Mombasa. You are unwell. You have a boyfriend. The boyfriend works in Nairobi. He didn't care. My colleagues knew him. My colleagues in the media knew him. So I was like, Ikosa. But he started behaving funny. You call him, he didn't pick up.
Yeah.
That is after mtu amepata promotion. Nikaanza kusema sawa. Then now my colleagues tell me, hey, tumeona daddy. I'm like, okay. And here I am. I'm not close to my mom. There are things I don't know how to express. I cannot explain them to her. Or even anybody in a family. I used to die inside alone. I don't speak it out. I'll go to church, yes, but I don't tell anyone. Deep down, I'm hurting. So one day, one of the colleagues called me and told me, Winnie, you're a nice girl. But I want to tell you about this guy. He's playing you. And being the person that I know you are, I could not want something to happen to you. I'm like, okay, what is it? And he tells me. I went back home, I cried. Apparently, he had impregnated somebody else. Yeah.
When you are still in a relationship.
Yes. This is somebody that I've kept myself pure for all these years.
Yeah.
28 years. Then, at times I normally think maybe he put something in my drink. I don't know. The soda that I was drinking, can't tell. That I slept with him. I cannot understand. So I'm like, this is the person that I gave myself to. And I'm in church. I'm like, hey, now, what will happen? I cannot go to church again. I cannot sing at the altar. Pulpit, huwezi kanyaga tena. So there's that guilt. So I decided to stay away from church again. But before that, then also there was a church that was disturbing me. This is a married man.
Yeah.
He has a family. The kids, mi ni kama third born wake. So kumbe mimi I'm dancing with my fellow teens, but this person is seeing something, other things. So I feared. Nikaanza kusema kama hii ndio kanisa. But in our church where I was brought up in Moroni, I've never seen such kind of things. But here back in Mombasa, naona vituko, things that I don't know. So I didn't have anyone to speak to. Mi nikachana na church. And I think in your process ya kutoka church is where now I get this guy. That's how now I messed up because I didn't have anyone to speak to. Maybe he took advantage. I still do not know. So I'm diagnosed with thyroid in 2011. And this guy hatuongeleshani. Ndio sasa hivyo ndimeenda aongei. Here I am, I'm unwell.
Yeah.
There's no one. Sasa ni familia tu. Then you don't have a job. You're depending on these consultancies. I do the consultancies, pesa zimekwama. Bado. 2011. 2012 surgery has to be done. And Dr. Sori says if you have an HIF, itakuwa sawa. Kama kuna, prepare about 300 and something thousand.
Yeah.
Now what we do, I ensure that NHIF is sorted.
Yeah.
Do inisaidie. Go for surgery. Mom was never briefed. My siblings were never briefed. Because doc said if mom has a condition, tusimwambie inaweza trigger. And the moment I tell my siblings, of course itamfikia. So the people that knew is my church in Mombasa and my auntie.
Yeah.
My church, that's why if there's one person that I love and I stand by up to date is my pastor in Mombasa, Reverend Wilson Kalume. He's walked through with me and the church has walked through with me in all journeys. So even the ones who conducted the fundraiser for me to go for the surgery. Yes. So after that day of the surgery, after around 8 p.m., I decided to take my phone. I cannot speak because of the pain. I take my phone and I call this guy. And he picks.
Yeah.
So he tells me, oh, umemaliza, umetoka. Then what I told him was I've just called to say thank you for everything. and may God bless you. That's all. Then nika hang up. But there was that pain, like I want to cry, but I couldn't because of the pain. It's like there's something I've released, yet it's not coming out. So I walked through that journey, healing. My mom came after a month to see me again. She didn't know surgery was done. So she came in preparation that we are going for surgery. And this is after she had come in earlier when she was told, your daughter is unwell, utapata sanduku, so many things. She came, yeah, when I was sick, because I was growing thin every day. And people talked. People can talk.
Yeah.
Watu waliongea kasema huyu ako na HIV, anajifanya ni pastor. Like, God, I've been faithful to you all through. Then I too, I didn't know what was eating me up. Because all the symptoms zilikuwa zina relate kama somebody that is HIV positive. You're losing hair, umetana umeusi, you're growing thin every day. You see, hyperthyroidism, the metabolism rate ilikuwa iko juu, iko very active. The hormones are active. So nikasema, hey, people. And people are avoiding. My friend, if you want to know friends, go through a season.
Difficult one for that matter.
Go through a season. And Winnie is a people person. People deserted me completely. I was left alone. It's on, that's why let me stick with my church. Hiyo ndio mwambianga watu. Do not question me if I'm giving to church jina nini. Do not. You do not know the relationship that I have with God and those that I know in church. So after surgery nikakaa tu, hakuna kazi. Meketi tu. Umeenda kuhustle, you come back, nyumba imefungwa. Jalipa rent.
Na kazi saa hiyo naenda.
Sina job, so umeenda kuhustle. Kuna kanini umepata kidogo uende utafute, na umejua when you're doing these documentaries, you're not paid there instantly. You have to wait for days or even months or even years. So najiuliza now, where do I start from? Winnie, mimi nimejua kuishi kwa single room. And I used to cry every day, I remember, telling God, I don't know how to share a washroom. Because unaenda unapata mtu amechafu. I used to cry. At times, naingia najifungia kwa nyumba, naoga kwa nyumba. Then kama ni kwenda washroom, nitaenda huko job, huko internship nikienda. And I told God, no, remove me from this. And that's how I moved from a single room to a bed sitter.
Yeah.
So at least there was very much okay. But what I saw after surgery was like hell. This is a period you don't have money, you don't have a job. Your money is outside here. The jobs that I did for the then Mombasa County, Mombasa Council, they've never paid up to date. I remember trying to follow it up with the then Governor Joe. He told me you'll be paid. Government bills, pending bills, they'll be paid. It has never been paid. So I told God, if it is your will, hii pesa ni yako, hata si yangu. It needs to work in your house. It needs to do something in your house. Kindly, tafuta venye pesa itatoka. And that's how I left it. So I've walked all through. Come 2016, 2015, there's one of our colleagues, we used to be with him at KBC. He passed on. May his soul rest in peace. We go bury him in Busia. He's called Mr. Kodo. When we return, there are heavy rains in Mombasa. And the shopkeeper says, Winnie, kwenu kuko flooded, mtaingia aje? I'm like, aje. Nasema kumejaa maji. Nikamwambia tung'ang'ane tu. And kweli, umeingia iko flooded. Unafungua mlango unashindwa utaanzia wapi. You cannot sleep. You don't know what in the morning. At around 3 a.m., kwenda chooni, there's water flooded in the bathroom. I'm like, Jesus, what's not happening? kufungua mlango, the main door, cause your bedsitter now tuko naingia kwa kitchen. Now this other side the bedroom and everything. Maji imeanza kuingia ndani. That's how water got into the house. Now you are trying to salvage things. People come to help you, but wengine wanakuibia. Seek refuge in the next flat that was under construction. Napo ndo tukakaa in that house. Here, Winnie, yes, you're still looking at ways of making things happen.
Yeah.
A friend had a sick baby in hospital. Akaambia, Winnie, tumekwama, mtoto ameadmitiwa na wewe unaweza tusaidia. Akaambia, me currently my state is not okay. But let me see what I can do. I take money from a Shylock friend, ampatie. That money has never been paid up to date. Check it.
Yes, checking it.
Right.
You're trying to make ends meet, yet
Yes.
you're going to a Shiloh to get money for someone else.
Yes.
And the way they have a very high interest.
Exactly. And the person says, Winnie, nitakulipa in 2 weeks' time. That is a promise. Ambia sawa. 2 weeks. 3rd week. No call being received. The next thing, simu ina drop. I start getting frustrated. I cannot tell anyone. Because one thing my mom had warned me before. My mom always tells me, Winnie, achana kusaidia watu. Hiyo roho yako mzuri itakuharibia. But me, I help a lot.
Yeah.
Until one time I was saying, ama niache kusaidianga watu.
There is nothing you can do about it if it's something in you.
So I used to cry. Pesa keeps on piling. I start following this person mpaka Nairobi. Tukaenda mpaka kwao kazini, akaitwa akasema pesa italipwa. Tukaandikishana. Nothing. Pesa simefika mingi. 377,000 ilipofika nikasema, Winnie, let this now stop. Shylock now had to come and take things from my house because I don't have the platform to pay.
How much have you taken initially?
It was around 65K.
It has.
No, these are years. This was never paid. And I didn't have a way of topping it up. Yes. Because interested at Shylock, ilikuwa ni after every 2 weeks, there's a 3,000 due. Kama mpaka sema talipa tu. When it got to 100K, nikasema, what do I do?
65.
Yes. Nikasema, now what do I do? Nothing. Winnie, you're seated.
You're still recovering.
I'm still recovering. I'm now looking for that money that I did a job for the county to see if I can get it and stop this. It's not coming through. Now that's when Joho came into office and said, hey, no payment of bills. That's how things went. Anyway. Winnie, I stayed in a house for 3 years without anybody visiting me. No friend, no one. The only people that used to come are my pastors. The people that we fellowship with in church, the same ministry, praise and worship, they ran away. My chairperson and the wife only. They could also see what they have in the house. The wife used to make mandazis. She could bring to me. People ran away. I used to sleep down in a mattress because the house was empty. That's the time Winnie knew how to use a stove with the wickets. That's this time I knew how to go hungry for days without complaints. And I was okay. Little did I know, this is the time that God was using me, was separating people. Because when I now become getting spiritual, it's a time that God tends to take people off you. The separation period.
Yeah.
It is a period of you and Him to converse and to know who you are. And to know that actually these people are not there for you. That's when now you bring the revelation of the word that do not put your trust. Amen. But let God do this thing. I remember one of my church members, I asked for 100 bob. This somebody that I used to be there for. Saizo nimeshinda njaa. Kambia nisaidia 100 bob, nitakurudisha. Kanambia utarudisha aje. I was broken. I was broken. If there's one person that has been hurt, I've been, even close family members, I've been hurt by people. Maybe there are those that have hurt, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have been hurt. Genuinely, things have happened. But I'm one person, you hurt me, and I'm good to go. I just forgive you. And I remember when one point one came and asked me, Winnie, kwani nakoseanga lakini uone? Nikamwambia mimi silipizi. I leave it to God. Let God deal with you. Yeah. It's not about me. So the Kilifi job that I got, I went through in 2015, 2016. 2017, I get a job. I'm called. I remember we were having a meeting.
In Nairobi now? Oh,
Mombasa. I'm just in Mombasa still. We were having a meeting for the Coast Media Welfare. And I get a call. I was closing the meeting with a word of prayer. You know, they called me pastor. And I will tell them, mimi si pastor. Mbenga wendo pastor wetu. So nasonga pastor tufungie kwa maombi. So when you're praying, a call comes in, and it was a bothering call. So I decided to switch my phone off. Tukamaliza maombi. Then I took my phone and called back. Kambwa, you're called for an interview in Nairobi on Monday. Winnie, I had nothing. Zero. I just told them, okay, fine. Meeting Monday, today, Saturday. Meaning traveling is the next day. The only thing that you can use to travel the next day is a train. So I tell my chair lady, she's called Maureen Moody. Kambia, mama, nimeitwa interview. Na mwenyewe najua hali yangu. Kambia, things will be okay. Nikambia, now let me do this. We have a meeting with the church for development. Let me pass there, then I see what happens. We go to that meeting. After the meeting, it was also a heated meeting for church development. Then I share with my pastor. Kambia, mwanangu, namiza sina kitu. Wacha tuone kutafanyika aje. Then as we are leaving, he gives me a cake. Kasema, this one, train is 700. It will help. Now when I'm going home, my younger sister's husband also gives me another 1,000 bob. And I say, now I'm okay. I go in my house, I pack my stuff, my papers. The next morning I go to SGR, fully booked. There are no vacancies, there are no seats. So I sat there gazing. I'm like, if I don't make it, the next thing is to get a bus. And a bus was more expensive than the train. Then from nowhere, there's a lady that comes. She was walking towards my direction. And I ran to her. And I told her, excuse me, ma'am, I have a humble request. In case you're canceling your ticket, kindly give it to me, because I have an interview on Monday and I don't know what to do. And mark you, it's 10 minutes into closing time. And what this lady says, I normally say, I wish I can meet her. I don't know her name. All I know is that she was from PCA. They had come to Woget Center for a seminar. And she was appointed that morning to go and speak to women. So that's why she was coming to cancel her ticket. And SGR, somebody else cannot cancel for you. So she tells me, it's you that God was speaking to me about. Because I've been bothered, I've been disturbed, I didn't know what to do. Akambia tuende. We went with her, she cancelled. At the desk, the lady at the desk tries to become difficult. At no, you cannot give it to us. We had given out to somebody. The lady tells her, no. When you're cancelling, it is my ticket. It's me to know who to issue it to. And then later on, she agrees. I'm given the ticket. Start running. Boarding time, ndio inafika. They're about to close the door. And you know the way is just from that place to the boarding for the way it is. And when I get into the train, I meet a group of women. Apparently, they were her colleagues. And one of the lady that tells me, oh, when do umepewa kit? I can't remember that lady's name. Nikamwambia yes, niko na interview. Kaniambia hiyo kazi ni yako. And I told her thank you. I believe. So we see to just make stories. I drop at Bellevue. I go to my sister's place. My sister takes me to the salon the next morning because I didn't have money to do that, just to prepare. Then I go to the interview place. By 9 I was there, exactly, in Parklands. And this is a role, an account manager role, something I've never done. So I get into the interview room. The general manager then welcomes me. And before she could begin, her phone rings. And I hear her say, amen. Then I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I'm in the right place. Then she speaks and speaks and speaks. Afterwards, akasema, asante pastor, let's get in touch. Then she tells me, Pole, I was speaking to my pastor. I mean, it's okay. But I could feel some peace. She interviews me, asks me the questions, and I answer. Then she tells me, we are paying for this position, we are paying 25,000. It was like from 40K, 50K, down to 25. First, I'm disturbed. Then I'm like, and I told her, okay, fine. I told her, I cannot refuse. What I know my worth.
Yeah.
I know my brand. You after what I'll do, it's you to determine. Kambiasa will get in touch with you after 2 weeks. Kasema sawa. I go back to my sister's place. Kambia, I have to go back to Mombasa. There's a training I was invited, so I have to attend the training. So the next morning, mimi huyo kwa SGR tena. Kafika Mombasa. I go for the training that we are having. It was a media training on food security. The last day of that training, not the last day, actually the same day, I'm now called by the same organization that I was in, that we need you in Nairobi for training. You've succeeded in the interview. I'm like, hey, God. Just like that, I go to the washroom, and you see the way you cry and tell God thank you. Just tell God thank you. This is the beginning of something else. Then I go back, we finish. We had a colleague there, she had lost her mom. We were also working on the preparations to bury the mom. So I could not attend. And that Thursday, the Friday now, the body was coming home. I was supposed to travel on that Friday. The body was being brought to her place. I had to carry my stuff, go there, be with her, and tell her I cannot be with you. I normally tell her, the death of your mom was like a blessing to me in this case. It gave me a job, and I hold her with so much love. Yes. So she tells me, Winnie, go prosper. And I go, I'm trained. I meet the gym, I meet the CEO. That's how now I began my job as an account manager with Track and Trace Limited. So when I get back to Mombasa, it was frustrations after the other. Bullying, intimidation. These are new dockets from journalism to a different field. I was bullied. I learned the hard way. I remember until at some point I wanted to throw in the towel within that 1 month. But my GM told me, hey, don't. Keep on pushing. You will sail through. And I kept on. I learned. I knew how to talk to clients. I knew how to access the office because people have been there. You're asking them questions, they don't answer you. Wanakwambia si tulifanya hivyo, endelea tu. I'm like, God. Unafika kwa ofisi ni chafu. As in, there were no procedures like policies. I don't know what used to happen. There was no order. And where I'm coming from, I'm one person who loves order and discipline. People could tell stories that are not corporate, like you see, this is a corporate entity. People are telling stories that are not conducive. A client will walk in, you find a staff seated on the table at the reception desk, and you wonder, they don't have that sense of, this is a client. I just showed her the message. Tambia hata usiliachia Mungu. Shukuru Mungu. We hujaachiwa mzigo, mimi niliachiwa mtoto. Nikamwambia it's painful. Nikamwambia this is somebody that I've opened up to. Thank God, one thing that I never did, I never messed up. I never slept with him. Because something that I said, I made a mistake once, I can never do it again. Akamwambia shukuru Mungu. Hii peke yake. Akamwambia but it pains. This is somebody I've invested emotionally in. Kesho, I'm going to talk to staff. How will I face them? I was broke. Sometimes too. Mujue umekaa nje for a long time without a relationship. Close to 7 years, then ingine, then boom. I go to the office, boardroom. I try to compose myself speaking to staff, but it's not coming. At times I get overwhelmed. I excuse myself. I go to the washroom. I cry, then I wash my face. But bado, those who are close to me knew something is wrong. So me, I knew I'll finish up with the training. Then the next day I go back to Mombasa. Apparently it didn't happen. My boss says, hey, we are here until the next week. I'm like, God, what do I do? I had begun looking for a course in management. I love things to do with the leadership, just bringing the best out of people and leading people. Because when I was doing my degree program in Methodist, I didn't complete the business administration bit. I don't know why, I didn't love it. As much as they told us journalism will come in, we just carry on with the courses. But I had a difficulty in administration. But I loved management and leadership. So I had done a brief research on Management University of Africa. So when I was given my per diem on that Friday, I took that money and I registered the course at more. That's how I sent that money. I just made sure I leave a little for my usage. That's how I was registered in January 2021. I waited, then the next week on Wednesday when I went back to Mombasa, then I got to my house, niliingia tu na mlango hivi nikafunga my suitcase, nikaeka chini ya study table. I slept down on the carpet. I cried. If there's a day that I cried, ilikuwa ni hiyo siku. I didn't go to church close to a month and a half because here I am, yes, you're a present worship leader. You're going to lead souls. You are grieving your heart. You'll be there at the pulpit, people thinking that the spirit, there's an atmosphere full of, God's presence, not knowing it is the pain deep down the grief. Exactly. So I said, hey, I'm not going to church. So my pastor called me after service. Daughter, I didn't see you in church. I burst into tears. Kambia nini mbaya? Kambia, let me just say I'll call you later. I didn't manage to talk. Nikam text. And he texts back and says, just leave it to God. God knows why that has happened. As much as, God speaks. And I used to see God speak and there's a confirmation that this is the right guy. Those things. I'm like, kasema achia Mungu tu. A time will come. Kama ni wako, no matter what, it will happen. So I sat, nikangojea pesa zingine nikatuma tena shule. Then I also applied help. That's how my journey at MOA began. And I told God, I never wanted to waste time. You see, when I was hurt, it's like, now I took my pen to something else. Yes. Let me concentrate on something else. I don't want to focus on any issues, matters, relationship again. Let it be. So I sat. And now my journey now in HR, now that's how I began doing the management and leadership and majoring in HR. Because here you are, you've gone to a docket in HR, you've never studied HR.
Yeah.
It's the inborn skills
In you.
in you, the passion for people that made you get that position. It has not been easy. It was never easy. That even we used to get loggerheads with the other side, the other division, the chief operating officer. We were not getting along well because me, I'm a principled person, a process oriented person.
Yeah.
But now with them, maybe they love shortcuts. Maybe they didn't love shortcuts. So things will happen and we could exchange. And I knew here they'd even wanted time to have me fired, but it could not happen.
Okay.
Even my own staff, they're like, this, what do you want? Me, I'm not a people pleaser. I don't know how to please somebody. And because I'll ask you to do the right thing, Winnie now becomes the enemy. So I said, and I told God, am I in the right place? Or should I just leave? But everyday things could come out. Those who are turning against me, they will realize they're fighting a losing battle. It's either they toed the line or it was them to drop off. Then something happened in 2021 towards the end. My then boss, after her wedding, the company was merged now into one. You were two divisions. My boss was ousted in the office by now members of the other team. You see, now as we're in the limelight because sisi ndio watu wa kukatalia kukwamia vitu. Winnie, we were frustrated because my boss now was out. The finance manager was out. She was declared redundant, something that never would have happened. Now Winnie was the one left on this side. I was frustrated. That January, February, I was frustrated. You are in a position, you don't know where you belong. You ask for JD, you're not given. Somebody sends you a file to work on. It is almost 5 and tells I need this by 5 p.m. And I told her, me, as much as things are happening, I'm somebody with order. You cannot do such a thing. And I will document. I'm a very good documenter. Then I realized it was a way, a constructive way of wanting me to walk out. Exit, yes. So I told God, give me the strength. And I was looking at my staff. I love protecting the junior staff. They don't have a voice.
Yeah.
God gave me that voice to speak on their behalf. So actually, this is what was being fought. I did not know. So I remember one day I walked into that office. And me, everybody around me, they know that when I used to get to the office every morning, I must pray. I cannot do anything without praying. Even if you wanted to ask me a question and you see me walking, they'll always wait. So this particular Tuesday, I walked into the office and I prayed. You see, there's that force.
Yeah.
And the prayer was focused on the junior staff only. Only to realize I had gone in as from 6:45 to some minutes to 8. I did not know. Then I went on and carried with my work until the colleagues that told me, hey, Winnie, kwani leo nini me happen? Nikauza tasi leo kwa nini? We're supposed to be having a meeting, room umekaa tu. Nikaambia poleni for that. And there I was being frustrated. Here you are HR manager. You're being told you report to a sales manager. Because now when I was thrown on the other side, the HR manager of the other side now became the overall HR. So me, I know that yes, let me report to her. I'm unwell. She tells me, I tell the sales manager. I'm like, how? Yes. How? I'm lost in between. And that hurt me most. I didn't even speak. And even the person that was being lied to ati nimefanya wakunywangi chai na maziwa. Ever since time immemorial, these people never take milk. I was hurt. And that's how Mimi and him, I just told God, deal, nikachana. And now I used to do my things. He's like, he wants to talk to me and ashindwa until one day he came and apologized. Came to my face akambia, Winnie, naomba msamaha. I didn't know I was being used to fight you. And I've realized you're a different person. Totally different. Nikamwambia, I don't have a problem. Hizo nilikuwa nishasahau. How may I help you? Amen. Naomba msamaha. And I want you to pray for me. Amen, I'm okay. And I prayed for him. I prayed for him. He sent me atoke daily appreciation, nasema hii nimepanda seeds nini. Nikamwambia tu sawa, it's okay, I bought you lunch. Nikamwambia it's okay, I don't have a problem. So ikafika mahali now, he was now the one being frustrated. Now he's coming to me for assistance. Nikamwambia just do your work. Just do your work. Don't listen to people. The way when you came in and I told you, you declined. Do your work. Otherwise, you'll be thrown under the bus. It will be chaotic. He resigned. Yes. He left. I didn't talk. So after leaving, now me come 2023, January. I started becoming unwell. This guy resigned in 2023, March. So me when I'm getting unwell, but I'm still working. I didn't know. I used to come to the office, I'm throwing up. Things are happening, I don't know. So one day, we were having a meeting, a staff meeting. Before the staff meeting, the previous day, he said, let me go to the hospital. It was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday I was going home. And on my way home, I used an Uber. You see, next to CID, there's that bridge. Nikaanza feel like I'm losing breath. Kambia driver, fungua dirisha. I was just feeling uneasy. Even before he did that, nikaanza puke. And he pulled the vehicle aside. I puked. Up to today, there's a very nice shawl of mine. I had to throw it there. Nikajipanguza gari. Akambia twende hospitali. Nikambia no. And I'll be fine. Then my phone went off. I figure home, nikambia, just give me 2 minutes, I charge the phone, then I pay you. I paid him, he called me, I paid him for washing the car, kanipigia kambia utakuwa sawa lakini enda hospitali. I didn't go to hospital. I called my in-law, my younger sister's husband, he's a pharmacist. Kaniambia, when you went home in December, did you take anti-malarial? Kambia pana. Kambia what you need to do, and upime malaria. Kambia sawa. So Wednesday, asubuhi, I texted my boss, nikambia, let me go to the hospital, I'm not feeling well. I went to Jalaram Hospital in Westlands. And when I got there, I was already weak. Even walking was an issue. One of the nurses held my hands, nikaenda mpaka kuona daktari. Then the doctor, when she pressed here, I jumped and made a very loud noise. Kambia, go to the lab. Wakupime H. pylori. Winnie H. pylori, I don't know what it is again. Nasikianga tu kwa watu. So I go to the lab, I'm tested, wait for the results for about 2 hours. When I go back for my results and she tells me it's positive and the infection is very high, then we are putting you on medication. I go buy the drugs. I didn't go home again. I went to the office. From office, I went to the salon. I went and had my hair washed. Then I instructed my neighbor to buy for me some food because I was told That's drug you only take when you've eaten. So I buy food, I go home, I cook. I'm like, it's taking too long. I took the meat and the vegetables, put them in together. I went to shower. When I came back, nikashindwa kukula. I looked at it, nikashindwa. Mi nikameza dawa hivyo on an empty stomach. Then I went to sleep. In the morning, remember we were having a staff meeting. I go for the meeting, but I'm weak. And my boss could tell me, Winnie, you're not okay. Nikamwambia, I'll manage. After the meeting, then I'll go home. Then I tried to compose myself. We had the meeting. When I went back to my office, that's where she would black out. I slept on the desk completely. And I was puking. When I was puking, how do you call it? There was nothing coming out. It was just the foam. So my boss says, hey, no, get a cab, go home. And a cab is called, and I go to my sister's place in South Sea. Now that was the beginning of the journey of H. pylori. H. pylori, now the management part of it, until now a point when it was getting worse, I had to see a specialist. And the first question the doctor asked me, am I stressed? And I told him no. How is your work environment? Kambia iko sawa tu. Kambia pana. This level is bad. It's chronic. And it threw me off balance. Then I told myself, hey, he said you have to do all these scannings, you have to go. After the results, I'm told now you have to do a surgery. It had left a hole, a 40 centimeters hole between the abdomen and the esophagus. And it brought in also hernia. Now hernia because of the puking. So Winnie, I'm dumbfolded. I don't know what to do. So that's when now I came to realize that working in a toxic place could make you go through all this. You're storing so much. And you see me, I was seated there because of, I used to look at the junior stuff. Yes, exactly. And they don't have a voice. People don't want to follow processes and procedures. And me, I love procedures. Yes, you're protecting the organization, but at the end of the day, if the juniors are not protected or the staff are not protected, then what kind of an organization are we running? Me, I said no. Until I could be called names, things used to be said, but I told God I do not care. Then I started having issues with my boss. One time when she told me that, do you know, I gave you a warning letter and you never signed. It dawned on me there's something wrong. Hapa hakuendani vizuri. Just because I had asked for a salary increment. Something that I was promised when I was being transferred.
Just a steward to them at this particular time. The question is, what kind of a mark are you going to leave behind? Because you look at the HR field, you have people, old, young, all of them are looking at you. When they have an issue, they come to you. So if you don't pray to God and if you don't have the wisdom from God to be able to manage these people, you can make yourself be in a position whereby you do things and they will follow you in future. Because kuna mtu anaweza kuwa anaishi analia mahali because of they think the HR ananichukia, hanipendi, and I've worked with people that would treat people rudely for no good reason. And I tell people, please be careful how you treat people. Tables turn. Yes. You can be the one seated there today, tomorrow it can be another person. So your journey has been quite an encouraging one, and I want to believe that our viewers will be in a position to pick 1, 2, 3 things. It's good to choose to work in an environment that is free of toxicity. Your peace comes first. I want to believe if we could have gotten a little bit into details of your recovery, nobody was there for you. It was you and your family. So even as we search for jobs, it's my prayer that God will help us to get jobs that will help us to grow, not to put us into health issues and all that. Yes, please.
Maybe something. I even remember, you see, the way now you fight for the junior staff or maybe staff, others don't understand. They always blame the HR.
Yeah.
To some point that others were saying, huyu ameenda kufanyia upasuaji, hata fadhali asiamke arudi. You know, this is somebody you're fighting for.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
True.
I'm like, kwani nini nilifanyika? But because you're a process person, people hate where there's a process.
Order. Yeah.
They don't want order. They want a marketplace. So at times you must be tough.
True.
But again, there's that HR in the HR. You sit down and understand, accommodate everyone. So at the end of the day also, employees need to understand HR is also an employee with the KPIs that needs to be met.
Yes.
You cannot just leave things haywire.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the worst that you see, it's denying you peace. Just hang in the boots.
Well,
Yes.
well, we have come to an end of our session today. Please remember to call us to invite us for the graduation. We will come as the Inclusive Reflection Show. Thank you so much, Winnie, for agreeing to come on board. And I want to believe, just as I told one of our guests today, I believe you were here when we were having him. We will be having sessions. I think when it comes to toxic work environment discussion, you'll be the best person to come on board so that we can be able to learn something from you. So to our viewers, thank you so much for subscribing. As we told you, this show is called Inclusive Reflections. Why? We want to have a moment to reflect about everything. That includes marriages, our spiritual life, that includes our careers, that includes the relationships that we keep, everything, our health. That is what we discuss on this show. Thank you so much for becoming part of us. Please, if you have not subscribed, we urge you to hit that subscription button so that you don't miss out on our content and so that you can be able to see whatever we are sharing, get inspired, and we want to believe that we'll move a journey together. So until next time, thank you so much for keeping it Inclusive Reflections. I'm your host, Teresami. May God bless you and keep you.